welcome back. Hey, let's take a look at another cult classic car flick. The movie in question this time is Duel from 1971. It currently holds a score of 89% on Rotten Tomatoes and stars the late great Dennis Weaver. His claim to fame was playing Chester Good on Gunsmoke. He did a lot of TV shows and movies that I'm not going to attempt to get into, but it's an extensive list. Dennis's co-star was a 1971 Plymouth Valiant four-door sedan. Now, except for the red paint job, this Valiant is as vanilla as it gets. Tan interior, slant six with an automatic, and pizza cutter tires. The third star of this movie is also the antagonist, a 1955 Peterbilt 281. Being rather menacing looking with its face-like front end, it looks like it sat outside its entire life, and the only thing keeping the whole thing from falling apart is its layer of rust and grime. A perfect villain. Strangely enough, you never see who's driving it. Duel also happens to be the directing debut of Steven Spielberg, who also went on to direct blockbusters like the Indiana Jones trilogy, E.T. the Extraterrestrial, Jurassic Park, and Schindler's List, just to name a few. The movie Duel made its debut as an ABC Movie of the Week, but it did so well they shot additional scenes and released it in theaters in 1972. The film follows David Mann, a middle-aged traveling salesman driving his trusty Plymouth Valiant sedan through rural California on a business trip. He encounters a rusty old Peterbilt 281 tanker truck driving slowly in the Mojave Desert. Mann passes the truck, and that triggers a series of events that are nothing short of crazy. Imagine some jerk driving in front of you that won't speed up and blocks you every time you try to pass. But add in the fact that the jerk is driving a huge 18-wheeler and is trying to kill you. Mann pulls into a gas station where the truck parks next to him, and he can only see the boots of the driver walking on the other side. Mann goes in and he phones his wife, who is upset with him after an argument from the previous night. The station attendant tells Mann that he needs a new radiator hose, major foreshadowing, but Mann scoffs at it, thinking the attendant's trying to sell him unnecessary replacement parts. So Mann gets back on the road and the deadly game of cat and mouse continues. Over the course of the movie, Mann gets run off the road, almost run over himself, stuck under a school bus, and the most screwed up part for me was when he pulled into the gas station / Snickorama. Now, this lady is super proud of her reptile and desert creature collection, but however, by this time, Mann has had it and goes to a phone booth to call the police to get this trucker off his back. Now, this is where the foreshadowing comes in, because he asks her to check under the hood, and she sees that he also needs a radiator hose. So while he's on the phone, you can see the truck coming up from behind, and Mann narrowly escapes being the man killed in our phone booth attraction. The truck proceeds to drive through the attraction several times, completely decimating this poor lady's obvious side hustle. She was actually going to put on a new radiator hose for Mann, but she never got the chance, as Mann was forced to take his Valiant back on the road to escape. The entire scene is pretty hilarious, to be honest. Now, the most intense scene for me was when Mann was trying to get over this mountain as the Valiant overheats due to this faulty radiator hose, obviously. The truck is gaining on him and Mann's speed is slowly decreasing. He's just begging the car to hold together as it smokes and rattles while going slower and slower. He finally reaches the top, and that allows Mann to shift into neutral and coast down to the other side. His relief and happiness is definitely undeniable. It's guaranteed you'll be on the edge of your seat, possibly reliving that time you tried to nurse an overheating car back home. Some of us gearheads can definitely relate. Now, the next tense moment comes as he's now coasting down at full speed and attempts to negotiate a super tight turn at the bottom of the hill. The perfect thing to do on those tall pizza cutter width tires. The movie climaxes in a spectacular crash with both vehicles ending up in the bottom of a canyon. In the end, you never see the driver of the truck or why he hated David Mann so much. Now, let's take a quick look at the vehicles themselves. Mann's car is a third-generation Plymouth Valiant that ran from 1967 to 1973. Now, for the movie production, they used 4 cars. One is a 69 that was modified to look like a 70 model and powered by a 318 V8 engine. This one was used for stunts and was the one that took the final plunge over the cliff. The second and third cars were a 1970 and 71 model respectively, both powered by a 225 slant 6, primarily used for the regular driving scenes. Now, the hero car was a 1972 model, also powered by a 225 slant 6. Now, unfortunately, I don't know if any of these cars survived or where they are. Hey, if you know, let me know in the comments. Now, the truck was chosen by Spielberg himself. He was looking for a certain look, and the 1955 Peterbilt 281 had the perfect look of menace and evil. Now, this particular truck was used throughout the movie, including the final climax scene. Now, it's said to have been equipped with a Cat 1673B turbocharged engine with an RTO 913 13-speed transmission. Now, although from what I could see and through my research, that engine didn't come out until 1960. Now, it appears that the original engine should have been a Cat 1674. However, there's always a chance that a newer engine was swapped in. I couldn't find anything definite. Now, when they converted the movie to a feature-length film, production purchased a 1960 Peterbilt 281 and a 1964 Peterbilt 351. The 351 was used in additional scenes for the theatrical release, and the 1960 281 was never used. The 351 was destroyed in another movie, so the 1960 281 was the only one that survived. Now, from what I can conclude, this one resides in a museum collection in North Carolina. Now, like the other movies that we've talked about, Duel didn't do great in theaters, but made its fortune in VHS and DVD Blu-ray sales. Spielberg puts his magic on the film, employing little subtleties like making the truck dirtier and grungier as the movie progresses, and also a sparse music score. Dennis Weaver plays his part brilliantly, and the movie as a whole will keep you interested the whole time. Being a bona fide cult classic, it's fun to watch with friends, and the tension that may have been pretty serious in the 1970s, like watching the angst on Dennis Weaver's face coupled with the cat and mouse car and truck game, can tend to be funny now, but the final scene I'd say is enjoyable and satisfying to watch for anyone. So grab your friends, stock up on snacks, and make some use of that media room you've been wanting to break in. Duel is a great movie to start with. Well, that's it for now. Thanks for hanging with me through another cult classic car flick. We'll be including these in between our history videos. Thanks for watching, and take care.